Hey guys, Kaiosho here. So, this is part two of a missing episode that I never posted of Ramblatory Nonsense, my podcast thingy that I just ramble about something related to games. Uh, this is. I'm missing part of it, and I can't find the file, so it's long gone. But the first part that I still have is my immediate reaction to Bioshock Infinite Burial at Sea Episode 2 and how the story wraps up. And I try very hard to not spoil anything in it, while also kind of really talking around it as best as I can. To be honest, uh, if you plan to play it, maybe don't listen to this. It's up to you. To me, I think what I say here, if I had known this ahead of time, like if someone had me listen to this ahead of time, I think my reaction to the end of the DLC would have been better because I would have known going in that I might not be happy. Um, Anyways, I'll cut back to my previous self. In fact, there's two little clips here. There's one, and then there's another that was recorded a couple minutes after that one. And then, like I said, there was a clip where I did completely spoiler stuff a while after that. That is just gone. I don't know what happened to it, but here we go. We're gonna cut back to myself from March of 2014. Hey guys, I'm back. It's March 25th, the evening that Bioshock Infinite Burial at Sea Episode 2 came out. I decided to go ahead and record another segment of this right now because I'm just so conflicted. There's not going to be any spoilers right now. I might record a spoiler-filled rant or something later, but I'm so conflicted. Um, the developers decided to go in a way that to end the series in a way that ties everything together, and in a way it may have ruined both BioShock and BioShock Infinite. Uh, so BioShock by itself, the first one, is a fantastic game. It's great. I really, really enjoy that game. I just played it recently, as you guys heard. And BioShock Infinite is also a fantastic game. But when you play these DLC, and it ties them together so closely, and some things lead to other things and back and forth, it it kind of diminishes what the original games did. It's hard to. It's kind of like when Lost ended. There were a lot of people with a lot of questions, and a lot of people disappointed. I was on the side of being slightly disappointed, and yeah, being annoyed that a lot of questions went unanswered, but generally being okay with how it ended. But this, it's not like that in that there's tons of questions. It's just, the feeling is similar to me. Um, or there's other stuff that have ended weirdly that. Okay, if you have played Metal Gear Solid, the first one, well, not the first Metal Gear game, but Metal Gear Solid. If you play that and complete it, and then you play Metal Gear Solid 2, there are some things in Metal Gear Solid 2 that sort of screw around with the events that happened in Metal Gear Solid 1. Like, not retconning exactly, but sort of. And when I first played Metal Gear Solid 2, that stuff kind of annoyed the crap out of me. It kind of ruined the first game. But then, after some time, I actually understood it better, and I
I talked to some other people online about it, and I actually ended up coming to like how things went. But in this case, I don't know how I'm gonna feel, say a month from now or a year from now. In some ways, I kind of wish I hadn't played the Burial at Sea DLCs because it just, I don't know, it might have ruined both the other games for me. BioShock Infinite was so great, and so was BioShock, but the way they've tied them together and the way they've ended the whole saga, I guess, it's just so frustrating. I'm not saying you shouldn't play it. Oh, maybe I am. I don't know. I could have never made myself not play them. If I had heard the stuff I'm saying right now from someone else, I still would have gone in and played them. I It's like when people said to watch, like the TV show Heroes, stop after season 1, don't watch anymore because the show just gets terrible or something. I don't know. Even though I heard that from everyone, I still went further, and I don't know. I never did finish watching that show, but whatever. At this point, I'm gonna say, really think about it before you watch or before you play those DLCs. While there were so many really cool things that happened and really awesome moments in the way that things were connected, and it just in some ways it might ruin it for you. I'm gonna just have to kind of stew with this for a few days and figure out how I feel entirely. But right now, my reaction is just depressed. I'm depressed. I was so into that series, and now I'm not depressed like when a game or movie or something is over and mourning it kind of depressed. I'm depressed that the way they went about ending it. It but it makes sense too. It makes sense and it works. But it's also so disappointing. The ending of Infinite was so good. It was so good. And then they did this, and now I don't know what to say. So I haven't yet played the Brigmore Witches DLC. I mean, not since I recorded that last bit when I had first started it. I'm going to. I was planning to play that before this, but I ended up not doing it. I'm gonna play that, and maybe I'll just wait until I play that before I record. Before I post this. So yeah. Oh man, what a interesting day or interesting game that was. I'm just so conflicted, and I'm rambling like crazy. I'm gonna stop now. Bye. Okay, guys, it's only a couple minutes after I recorded the last part. When I was thinking about it, when I was recording that part, I couldn't quite put my finger on what it reminded me of the most as far as how I feel about it. And then I remembered the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. Fantastic book series, one of my favorites, and it's the first book starts out a little slow, but if you're gonna read them, push through that one, and then it gets fantastic. Anyways, at the very end of the last book, Stephen King basically he gives you this warning that if you're happy with where things are right now, don't watch anymore. Or don't if you're happy with how things are right now, don't read anymore. Just stop. I know there's people that are gonna want to know what happens next, but it'll be better if you don't continue reading. And then, of course, who can resist continuing reading? And it ends the way it does, and you're just left kind of how I am right now with BioShock Infinite. So basically, if you can stop yourself, if you can let it go and not play the Burial at Sea episodes, by all means do so. But if you have to, if you really have to, just do it. I can't be held responsible for how you feel afterwards because I'm kind of yeah. Anyways, just wanted to add that little bit there.
Hey guys, it's Kaiosho from present day, which, if you're listening to this in the future, isn't present day anymore. So, 2015 version of me on July 4th, our Independence Day in the United States. So, like I said, the spoiler section where I talked in depth about the ending is gone. I don't know what happened to it. I do remember now that I definitely had that, and it's gone. I don't know. So, instead of that, I will update you on how I feel about that ending overall. Again, without going into any more spoilers than I already have. I mean, there's not spoilers so much as my reactions to it, which could be a spoiler to you if, yeah, anyways. So, I still feel pretty much the same. I wish I had heard from other people beforehand that the ending was disappointing. And you know what's weird is a lot of people don't find it disappointing at all, and that puzzles the hell out of me. I don't know how they could be so invested in the game series and not be like sad and depressed and just upset with that ending. The only people I think that would be super, really, extremely happy with that ending are the people that really hate BioShock Infinite but really love BioShock. I don't want to go into it any more than that, but it was frustrating, and to still now I question myself whether I should have played BioShock Infinite Burial Sea Episode 2. To anyone listening to this that hasn't played it and you listen this far, honestly, if you really, really want to, like I said in the last clip there about the Stephen King thing, if you really want to know how it ends and how it all wraps up, sure, go ahead and play Burial Sea Episode 2. But really, if you feel like you're happy with the ending of Infinite and you had your little bit of fun with Episode 1 of Burial at Sea and it was good enough, it was fun, you don't really need more than that, then just stop. Don't play anymore. That's my opinion, especially if you really love BioShock Infinite, and really connected to those characters and that world, and that whole universe. Don't. I gotta say, don't play it. That's just my opinion. Then again, like I said, if you're hearing this now, that will probably make you want to play it even more because you want to know what the hell I'm going on about. So there's that. Now, while I was playing, when I back then before I recorded that bit, I had been planning to do a video that was comparing. There goes my dog growling at the neighbors. I was planning to do a video comparing BioShock and BioShock Infinite because there are so many people that were arguing at the time on the internet whether BioShock was better or Infinite was better, or why one was so much better than the other and the other one's just garbage and all that kind of shit. And I kind of was going to do a video where I actually broke down individually what the major differences were and why I think the developers went the direction they did from one game to the other, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I never made that video, and I'm never going to, but because this episode is cut short because that bit of spoilers is gone, I'm going to read to you some of my notes that I had for that comparison video. I actually haven't read through this yet, so I'm just going to read it off the page to you as I go. And if anyone's watched my LPs, you know how sometimes I can be really terrible at reading things. So, okay. This is, I guess I kind of wrote out some of this, I guess, quote-unquote script of what I was going to do in that video. So we'll just start off, blah, 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 blah. Okay. First, we have to start with a short history lesson. In 1994, Looking Glass Studios released System Shock, a combination first-person shooter and role-playing game. It took place in the future on a space station. The artificial intelligence that ran the station's computer then ran amok, killing people, mutating others, took control of the robots of the station, the whole 9 yards. The player's job was to save the day, more or less. Along the way, you'd find audio logs and emails of the dead or converted people, hack computer systems, and on a regular basis be taunted over a radio or PA system by the antagonist, in this case being the AI Shodan. Does any of this sound familiar? In 1999, a sequel was released, co-developed by Looking Glass Studios and Irrational Games, with lead designer and story author being Ken Levine. So he didn't work on the first game, but he was heavily, System Shock 2 was his game. It very much followed, okay, now I'm going back to reading. It very much followed in the footsteps of its predecessor, but included many improvements and innovations along the way. Before we get into everything, you might be asking yourself, where's BioShock 2 in all of this? Why am I not including it? Well, for one, I haven't played it. That's still true. Huh. The reason I haven't played it is because, to me, I don't consider it canon. BioShock 2 was not developed by Irrational Games, nor written by Ken Levine. It was developed by some of 2K's other studios. I think it was San Diego or... oh, I can't remember. Or I'm confusing that with Rockstar, aren't I? Yeah. Whatever. Going back to reading. I'm not saying it's a bad game or that I'd never play it, just that it's not really relevant to me personally. Comparing gameplay elements from another developer would defeat the purpose of this particular video/series. So, since that time, I had found out that a handful of the people that, or at least 2 or 3 people that worked on BioShock 1 actually moved to that other studio and helped work on BioShock 2. So, and they were story people too. They, like some of the script writers, I think. I could be wrong about this. I remember looking this up at one point. So, as far as it being canon or not canon, BioShock 2, to me, still feels like this thing that the publisher did on the side that's not relevant. And in fact, I'm pretty sure in BioShock Infinite and the Burial at Sea DLCs, they did not reference anything from BioShock 2. Now, if anyone listening to this knows, like, has played the game and played all the games, and knows differently, like, please let me know in the comments. I'm not sure about that. So let's get into some of the actual comparisons. I'm not sure what parts of these are script and what parts are notes to myself, so I'm just going to be reading them off, and if they're ridiculous things, we'll find out together. All right, so in BioShock, the first one, when you're not in combat, there's a bit more non-linearity to it. You're exploring, but there's often areas you can go to early or slightly out of order, and you can very easily backtrack to previous areas if you want via the bathyspheres. You tend to spend a significant amount of time in one area, exploring it, then doing whatever objectives you have, and traipsing back to the various types of vending machines for ammo and health. I'll come back to that. I don't know if I come back to that. I think I do. In BioShock Infinite, you're still exploring for loot, and you do get rewarded for it, but there's no real feeling of choice. There's only one place specifically I can think of where you sort of choose the order of how you do things. Basically, there's a level in the game that sort of loops back around on itself. Your choice in that matter is which end of the loop you start at. Yeah, that's true. Otherwise, everything is pretty linear. Also, there's no easy method to return to previous areas. Not that you'd want to anyway. Yeah, there's almost every area you get cut off from going back. So there you go. Now in both games you explore all the nooks and crannies to find loot. It feels the same in both of them, mashing the action button just to take everything without really looking at it. And yeah, it feels kind of out of place to be like there's a heavy story going on in both games, and you're just running around grabbing shit out of eating food out of garbage cans and whatever. It's a game thing. It's still fun. It's fun. So that's why I did it. I mean, if it bothered me that much, like on my second playthrough of BioShock Infinite, I wouldn't even bother with the loot. I would have just played through. But still, it was still fun to me. And I had played that on easy, like I said in the last episode, the second time I played, just so I could play through the story again. And I still did all the fucking looting because it's fun. I don't know. There's probably whole theses written about loot in games and that whole reward cycle. In fact, I think there are. I think I've read them, and I can't remember the term the psychological term that's used, but whatever. So, oh yeah, I said I was going to talk about vending machines later. Here's the section I wrote on that. Okay, so in BioShock 1, there's way more vending machines in the first BioShock. There's a health station that just refills your health. There's the generic ones, which can sell you first aid kits, Eve hypos, and some ammo. There's ammo vending machines which only sell ammo. There's Gatherer's Gardens, where you buy new plasmids and new tonics, and also more slots to hold those plasmids and tonics. There's the gene sequencers, which you use to change out which plasmids and tonics you have equipped. There's inventory stations. Oh, I have in parentheses here, need real name. Apparently I didn't have the name of it, and I'm not going to look it up right now. Where you can build certain types of ammo and a few tonics from parts you find. There's the rare weapon upgrade station, which allows you to install an upgrade onto one of your weapons. It's a one-use station. You use it and it's done. So you really have to mull over your choice of upgrade. And it's super satisfying to find one of those stations. Now in Infinite, there's the generic vending machines, which sell health, salts, and ammo. There's those three stations. Or wait, is that just one station? I can't remember now. There's a weapon upgrade station, which isn't rare, and in fact one of the most common. There's a machine which sells upgrades to your vigors. There's a rare salt dispenser, which refills your salts. And so now there's just some more random notes. I said something about character progression. I just have a note, a one-line note, but I think I kind of know what I was going to go for with this. In BioShock 1, your character yourself, you don't really go through much character progression because you're kind of a blank slate. And that's actually central to the plot, and that's a big deal and everything. But there's not much character progression in general in that game. Like, the different characters... Okay, like the Asian doctor, I can't remember his name. There is some kind of character progression with him that you hear in his audio logs, but for the most part, that's the only character that I remember that actually has an actual palpable character progression in the story, other than your character, which does and does not at the same time. Whereas BioShock Infinite, character progression is like the central theme of the game. And I don't mean character progression as far as getting new items and upgrading. I mean character progression as far as... Sorry, my chair's making noise. As, like, Elizabeth. And not just Elizabeth, but Booker. Like, I think that's the first-person shooter where I really felt like the character I was playing actually had proper character development and just development in general. Like, you have that in other games, RPGs and adventure games and things like that, but in a first-person shooter, it was the first game where I felt like my character really had a personality and really had progression through the story, of emotional progression and just development. Whereas in Bioshock 1, there really wasn't much of that. Um, there really wasn't much at all. Like I said, the Dr. I can't remember his name. There was a bit of that, but only in the audio logs. Whereas in Infinite, there was character progression and audio logs of various characters, but there was also Booker. And then, more importantly, Elizabeth. Elizabeth goes through this whole huge change throughout the course of the game. And there's just the one pivotal moment where she puts on the outfit of and cuts her hair and that of the outfit that's in all the pictures of the press and everything. That's a big thing that happens to her. But the whole, even the end in between, it's all about character development. Whereas, like I said, Bioshock 1, not so much. Bioshock 1 was more about the exploration. It was more about the actual gunplay and all the little details, all the details of playing a first-person shooter slash RPG. Whereas Bioshock Infinite, I feel like, was a first-person shooter slash point-and-click adventure game, almost like a Gone Home style point-and-click adventure game mixed with a first-person shooter, rather than, like I said, an RPG. I mean, it still had a little bit of the RPG elements, but it wasn't the same. You can feel that they're in the same series. The plasmids and the vigors and all that kind of stuff. It all ties together, but yeah, they're very different in feel, and just the way, not just like the atmospheres of the two locations, because those are vastly different, but in just how the game plays out and how you feel while playing it, how I felt while playing it is very different. I personally much prefer Bioshock Infinite. Now, again, Bioshock 1, it was spoiled for me ahead of time and all that, but still, I honestly really enjoyed Bioshock 1 when I played it. But I just personally don't prefer, I don't prefer dank, dark, creepy atmosphere. The only time I can get into that is when I just go balls to the wall and rush enemies and kill them right in their friggin' face, and don't like sneak or anything, because then I creep myself out. I get in my head and I creep myself out, and I get a little too tense, and I can only stay that tense for so long, and I can only play for so long, and I have to stop and take a break. Whereas Bioshock Infinite, I could play in one sitting. I don't know. I can't remember how many hours it is, but Bioshock Infinite is it's like Metal Gear Solid to me. It's a story game. Whereas Bioshock 1 is a story game, but it's also all about the gameplay. And for me, Bioshock Infinite is more repeatable. Like, it's more of an experience I want to repeat and have again in the future. Whereas Bioshock 1, I could see maybe one more time, playing through it one more time sometime in my life, but I can't see myself wanting to replay it over and over like some people do. That's just me. I don't feel like the different plasmids and the different weapons that you could specialize in and all that kind of shit, the upgrades, I don't feel like it's enough. The differences in playstyle are enough to justify playing through it again. And yes, there are two storyline paths where you either harvest the little sisters. Yeah, little sister. Is that? Wow, how am I blanking on this right now? Yeah, I guess the little sisters or whatever. Whether you harvest them or not, and honestly, from what I've looked at and seen, it doesn't really change a ton. It does change some stuff, but it's not enough to make me play the game over anytime soon. Now, here's the problem. I want to play Bioshock 2. In fact, recently, especially since I found out that it is a little bit more tied into canon, because some of the story people that worked on Infinite and 1 did work on 2, even if Ken Levine wasn't involved. Uh, I kind of do want to play it. And then now it goes back to my previous episode, not the one about Dishonored and Infinite, but about Order and spoilers. Uh, I kind of feel like if I'm gonna play BioShock 2, I gotta play BioShock 1 again. And like I just explained, I don't feel like I want to do that anytime soon. And yet, to play 2, I feel like I should. That's how crazy I am. I don't know. That's why I haven't played it. Even though I've heard from a couple people, couple crazy people, they might not be crazy, but a couple people, that BioShock 2 and especially Minerva's Den, the DLC expansion, are like the best part of the whole series out of all 3 games. But I think they were talking gameplay and level design. I'm not sure. I don't think they were talking story, but I'm not entirely certain about that. I haven't talked to them in detail about it because I didn't want any spoilers. So there you go. So I guess that's it for this episode. I didn't intend for this episode to be mostly me talking and only a little bit of the stuff from before, but that's what it ended up being. Someday I'm going to play BioShock 2 and Minerva's Den, and I guess I'll make another episode about that sometime if I actually do it. As far as, like, I've been thinking a lot recently about the Shock series of games. System Shock 2, and then BioShock, and BioShock Infinite, all that. And I hope 2K, if Ken Levine's not interested in doing those types of games anymore, I hope 2K does something with the Shock games. That style of play, whether it be the System Shock 2 / BioShock style of play, or the BioShock Infinite style of play, or anywhere in between, I think that's a great type of game, and I want to see more of those. And if Ken Levine's not involved, that's fine. He's basically said, I don't want anything to do with those anymore. And that's great. He finished the story in a way that I hated, but he finished the story. And so I'm okay with someone else picking it up and going along with it however the hell they want to do it. It doesn't have to be BioShock. It doesn't have to be System Shock. It can be Aftershock. That's probably already a game. It's such a generic name. Anything. But that style of game, I want to see more of that. That's why I ended up playing Dishonored before, in March of last year, or whenever that was, early January last year, was because I wanted to play more a game similar to BioShock, and that was something I had. Another game that's kind of sort of similar is like, what is the name of that? That game made by Raven Software that no longer exists. Okay, I'm just gonna look at my Steam right now because I don't own it on Steam. Crap. Singularity. There it is. I looked at my Xbox 360 games. There it is, right there. Sorry, guys. I've been awake all night. I've had some coffee. I'm trying to fix my sleeping schedule for like the millionth time. I can never get it to stay where it should be. So, yeah, Singularity is kind of in the... It's more the first-person shooter. Singularity is kind of halfway between Half-Life 2 and BioShock. It's kind of in between. The story is not nearly as good as either of those. But it's good. It's a really good game. So if you haven't played Singularity, I think I might have talked about that on an episode of this at some point in the past. I don't know. But you should play it. It maybe one of the first episodes of this, actually. Yeah, you should play it. It's a good game. It got some shitty reviews because, I don't know, people thought it was ripping off BioShock, even though it was in development before BioShock was, or something. I don't know. It's a great game. And unfortunately, it didn't sell very well, and Raven Software got shut down, and that was terrible, because Raven goes way back. And Yeah, but yeah, I love those sorts of games. In fact, if anyone's got suggestions for games like that, I know the Deus Ex series is kind of similar. Um, I haven't played those yet. I do intend to play those, but any other suggestions would be cool. But whatever. I'm so happy that Dishonored 2 is going to be coming out. Hopefully the story's better. As I said in the episode previous to this about the Dishonored review, I really love the gameplay. When I finally just decided to give up on trying to get the best storyline slash ending thing that all the developers and the press told you that you should do. If you want to have the good ending, don't kill people, don't cause high chaos. What the hell voice did I just do? Oh. Anyways, don't it yeah. That game was so much fun. If they just not said that to people and people just played it, I think it would have been an even bigger success than it was. But I think it already sold well. It was Arcane Studios. I've actually been really considering lately playing Arcane's first game, which was Arx Fatalis, or Arx Fatalis, or however you want to pronounce it. I'm thinking of doing a Let's Play of that. In fact, a long time ago, I did a poll where people voted on what Let's Play I would do next, and then I did it, and I never finished it. That was Blood Moon. Someday I'm going to go back to that, actually. I tried rewatching some of those videos and never actually finished watching them to catch myself up, and then now it's been so long I'd have to do that all over again. But Arx Fatalis is a spiritual successor to the Ultima Underworld games, and I just watched a Let's Play of Ultima Underworld 1 because I was going to play it, but then I realized I hate the interface of that game. I hate it. So I decided to watch a Let's Play, and that's the first Let's Play I've watched in a long time. Long time. Beginning to end. And it was great. I wish I had played it, but at the same time I know that I would have gotten frustrated by the controls and stopped at some point. Also, there was like an entire level in that game that was a no magic zone. Like it zapped all your mana away. And I didn't know that was a thing. So if I had played it, I would have been pissed because I almost assuredly would have played a magic user. Whether it would have been a full-on mage, probably not, but I would have been heavily using magic, because I always do. When there's a game where I can be fighter and a mage at the same time, or like fighter, mage, thief, a lot of times I like to do that, like in the Elder Scrolls games and other stuff like that. I like to do a little bit of everything. I like to play around and find what I like. And if I had been playing that on my own, oh my god, I would have freaked the fuck out. Because, oof. This guy that was playing mostly focused on fighting, but even that he had a hard time. And, oof. Anyways, so yeah, in the future, as far as LPs, I need to finish. I need to play more and finish this Toradora Let's Play. Then I'm gonna be doing Shenmue. Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2. I haven't decided yet. I think for Shenmue 1, I'm going to do the undubbed version, which is basically Japanese voiceovers with English subtitles. And the reason I want to do that is because the voice acting in Shenmue is horrible. Not all the characters. Like, the main characters are pretty good. But every little friggin' side character, and there's a lot of them because it's an open world kind of game where you can walk around a whole town and talk to every random person. There's some really bad voice acting in Shenmue on the English version. And it's just like anime that I've discovered, that dubs are terrible. So I'm thinking when I do my Let's Play, it's going to be Japanese with English subtitles. I don't know if that bothers anybody, but I really want to do that. Also because Shenmue 2, I'm going to play the Dreamcast version, and that only came out in Europe, but that has Japanese with English subtitles. So in order for it to be consistent, I think I'm gonna do Japanese with English subtitles for both. Because I don't have the Xbox original Xbox version of Shenmue 2. And you know what sucks is I was planning to buy that like a month ago before the Kickstarter thing ever, before E3 ever happened. I was planning to buy that. It was going on eBay for like $10. And now I haven't looked recently in the last few days, but it's way up there. So no thank you. No thank you. I will play the Dreamcast version and play everything in Japanese like it should be because yeah. Anyways, so yeah, upcoming Toradora Portable. I might play that off and on in between Shenmue or finish it before I get my. I ordered the VGA to HDMI converter that I need. So once that's here and I get it all set up and everything works, I'll be recording that. And then, yeah, I want to do Arx Fatalis. I really do at some point. Um, Also, I think I'm gonna start streaming more. I'm gonna stream just random shit I feel like playing. I might start streaming like just dungeon crawlers, old school dungeon crawlers. I've just been in a mood for those kind of games lately. That's why I watched that Ultima Underworld Let's Play. Um, Maybe Eye of the Beholder, Eye of the Beholder 2. I might play those on a stream and just stream those. I don't know if anybody will watch, but I'll do it. Uh, Stuff like that. I have no idea. Maybe I'll play more of Legacy of Kain. I completely didn't go back to that. Maybe I'll play more of that. Some more streaming, possibly. Anyways, I don't know. I'm still talking. I don't know why I'm still talking. I'm done talking. I'm done. I'm done. No more talking. So that's the end of this Ramblatory Nonsense. Started out as going to be a lost episode and turned into more of me just talking about things. So yeah, anyways, back Shenmue 3 on Kickstarter if you haven't yet, or if it's still going on when you finally hear this, if anyone hears this, I don't, whatever. I hope it gets a lot of money because I really want it to be great. So yeah, anyways, until next time, goodbye.